Good evening, everybody. I am Anaris. It is Sunday, October 3rd, 2010. Tonight I have a 1 versus 1 for you on the map Delta Quadrant. And over here in the top left corner, we do have, move out of the way chat, oGs.SuperStar spawning as the yellow Protoss, and down as the blue Terran we have a Miso. So, not really sure what any of that says, but doesn't really matter as both of these players get underway with their build orders. So far, everything is fairly smooth. I will say that I'm still to this day surprised that this map is a 1 versus 1 map. I mean, look at the amount of money that is near each base. You've got 3 expansions near each base. And, I mean, 2 of them are guarded off by junk piles, but geez, so much money in this map. So, anyways, I think this is probably my favorite map so far for 1 versus 1 long battles. As, I mean, you can imagine they go on forever. And taking a look down here, we do have a supply depot which did go down at about 10.5 supply, thereabouts. And we do have a gas before a gateway up here for Superstars, so definitely going to see some kind of tech play as we go into this game with the first couple minutes. Do not have a gateway yet. He is currently at 13 of 18 on the supply count. Chrono boosting out 2 probes as we speak right now. Here comes a probe, most likely to throw a gateway down here. It looks like it is waiting to do just that. So there it is right there. And he is going to send that probe out to scout. Meanwhile, down at the Terran base, he does have his own gas refinery building in the southern portion of his base, as well as 1 barracks on the way. So fairly standard play from the Terran player so far. Probably looking to see an orbital command here in the very near future, possibly expanding into a couple more barracks. It's like I said, this is kind of a traditional build. So, yeah, but this part of the game, pretty much not so much going on. Both players just scouting out. That's one of the things that's really kind of awkward about commentating, is you get the first couple minutes of the game where nothing's really grabbing your attention. So you look for stuff to talk about, but it's like, yeah, pylons, yeah. So, yeah, Cybernetics core going down. Hopefully we can get a little bit more action going on here as we do have a chrono boost coming out. Definitely have some gas on the way. Let's take a look at the income for both of the players. You can see that each one is sitting at roughly the same gas income. However, Superstar definitely does have a little bit higher income right now because he has been chrono boosting out the probes. As the SCV is getting up in here to scout the base, chrono boost Zealot on the way for the Protoss player, and we do have a mule down here now, so we are going to see that the blue player's economy just shot up way past Superstar. So, you know, it kind of balances each other out. The Protoss is able to get out a whole bunch of probes really early, and the mule just really catches up the economy for the Terran player. So we have a tech lab here, and we have a Reaper on the way, as well as the concussive shells upgrade. So very likely we're going to see some Marauders, as that's typical for Terran players to get sort of early game versus Protoss, because they counter both Zealots and Stalkers very well. Of course, the Stalkers you can just, or the Zealots you can just kite them all day, and the Stalkers they do really great damage against them as well. So, anyways, Protoss player is sitting on about 100 minerals, 150 gas, and he is actually trying to build some hidden tech down here. This map is actually exceptionally good for that. However, versus a Terran player, you do have to watch out because, prime example, you know, when you're sending a Reaper out to the base of your opponent, they're generally going to head out through the corner or the follow the outer edge of the map right here. So, in this particular case, this tech was kind of poorly placed, but I mean, I'm not the one who's playing, so you know, whatever, it's fine. He did cancel Twilight Council, and he's going to lose his pylon though, so that's not really going to affect his psi count too much. He is setting 32 out of 42 supply. You see he's almost supply blocked, not quite. The Terran player, however, you can see is currently supply blocked, 27 out of 27. He does, however, have 2 supply depots on the way. A couple more barracks coming as well. You can see 3 have just been dropped, and a couple Marauders coming down here to kill the destructible debris, while a command center is built adjacent to it. So going to see an early expand from the Terran player as this one lone Marine guards the ramp, as well as this one Zealot too. So pretty much both players continuing to macro up. We do see that he has switched into a robotics facility, going to get an observer out, chrono boosting that, very good move. And you can see that we do have a Reaper getting ready to come up into the Protoss base where the natural is being planted, so the Reaper is going to see that going down. However, that Reaper is not really going to be able to do so much, a little bit of scouting maybe perhaps, but definitely not any sort of attack. So it is common to see players use sacrificing Reapers to scout their opponent's base. It is 50 minerals and 50 gas, but really the knowledge you can gain from that is a lot of times just really worth it. So definitely a good tip to keep in mind for you StarCraft 2 players, as we see that he does have 4 racks out right now, 2 tech labs. He is researching, you can see right here, the stim pack upgrade, and getting his orbital command right here for this command center, which just finished a minute ago. And this Nexus is just about complete, probably finish the next 30 seconds or so, as he is getting another pylon down here and a couple more gateways just south of his one warp gate right now. As you can see, warp gate technology is finished for the Protoss player. No more proxy positions are being made at this point in time. However, this observer is coming down here and seeing that the Terran is going, you know, four racks, Marine Marauders, nothing too fancy so far. We do have a factory going down, and the Terran player is moving up, going to try to make a push on this expansion. If he can lock down this natural and keep the Protoss from getting these minerals, it'll definitely put him at a great position, as this SCV is going to come over here and scout ahead and see what is going on. He sees that there is one immortal, couple sentries that'll definitely provide some good force field usage if micro properly, which we generally have come to expect. There they are, right there, going to sandwich off some of the units from the rest of the Terran forces, giving the Protoss pretty much a couple of free pot shots. So the Terran forces did take down that one immortal, and they are continuing to push off the sentries, trying to kite just a little bit, kill the zealot. But these sentries are able to continue shooting even as the Marauders kite the one zealot away. So this attack pretty much over. This one little Marauder, he's going to try to do what he can, but unfortunately it's not going to be too much. As you can see, there are a couple more units up on the way from the Terran player, presumably rallied up to the middle of the map here. You can see I'm not too sure what's going to happen with those Marines. They may die very soon. Nope, it looks like he is going to pull them back at the last minute. So, looks like Terran's going to regroup here and build up his forces just a little bit more. You can see that he does have more barracks on the way, which will bring him to a total of 6. Of course, he is still running off of 2 tech labs at the present time, so... other than that, you know, not too much going down here. This mineral line is pretty much saturated, getting there at least. I'd say about 75% on the way. As you can see, another engagement is taking place. So these stem Marauders are trying their best to do damage, and they are moving, they're shooting, they're moving and shooting, but the sentries are able to continuously fire at them. However, the Marauders and Marines are turning out to do much more damage than the sentries in the end, so the Protoss player is going to have to retreat to his semi-proxy pylon down here and make a couple more units and try to come out and probably try to sandwich the Terran forces around here, make sure that he can't retreat out back through this way. And yep, that's pretty much what he kind of did. He's going to kite the Zealot just a little bit more here. The Terran continuing to reinforce this attack, trying to keep pressure. However, there is a Colossus in the field now with the range upgrade about halfway done, so this is definitely going to give the Terran, you know, really just good reason to retreat, try to think about a little bit about maybe changing the strategy. May see some Vikings come into play in the near future here. Those are a great counter for the Colossus. As you can see, that the anti-air for this force, not so great. He does have one Stalker, however, he does not have the blink technology yet, and the sentries really can't, they don't have the speed to keep up with the Viking harass. So, we'll have to see how the Terran player adjusts to this. Is taking a look at the economy again. You can see that that his expansion is, for the most part, in full swing there. Probably drop some mules in a second. Yep, sure enough, there they are, right on cue. And he does have... a little bit less income than the Protoss player. You can see, of course, that the mules are going to kick it up here, but this expansion, of course, is fully saturated. Both of them are pretty similar on the gases. The Protoss player is not exploding. I promise you that. This destructible debris, however, is exploding very quickly as as SuperStar is hoping to expand, take this high yield, and give himself the economic advantage that he would need to make one solid good push against the Terran player. Who, taking a look down here, you can see that he is getting ghosts, and his starport just finished, so we do have a couple Vikings on the way. Probably just going to use the ghost exclusively for EMP. We really don't see too much nuking these days. You see it a little bit, but not as much as I would enjoy it. So, both players sitting back, macroing up. A couple more Colossus have taken to the field. One more is on the way, however, it is not being chrono boosted, as he is sitting on a little bit of energy, but not too much. So, taking a look at the upgrades here, we do see that the Protoss player doesn't have any just quite yet. However, the Terran player, I believe, is working on Weapons 1 right now, and also, yeah, so... excuse me, we do see that he is working on the starting energy of the Ghost, which of course will allow him to EMP sooner as they're released, as the Ghosts are built. So Protoss trying to make a push down here with his 3 Colossus. It looks like he is going to move them up ahead just a little bit, try to get some free shots off on the forces. As the Terran player tries to retreat, he doesn't want to attack before the Vikings out because he'll just have to retreat back again. But now that the Vikings are out, he is going to push out just a little bit. Might see some force fields going down here to keep the Terran from getting out of the base, and the Colossus are definitely going to outrange. However, the Vikings are continuing to push back the Colossus, as you do see one microed here pretty close to death, but was able to get that out of the way. So that was kind of a productive engagement. However, ultimately, you know, it really just kind of kept the Terran on the defensive. So definitely a little bit of psychological damage, I think, there, trying to keep the Terran. I mean, you saw a couple minutes ago he was really trying to take some map control, keep the pressure on the Protoss player, but now the Protoss has fought back and shown him that he is able to take the same punishment down to the Terran base as well. And while he did that, he actually continued to expand, continuing to pump out his probes. You can see that his income is very solid right now, almost 2,000 minerals per minute, sitting on a little bit less gas income, but I mean, he's got these 2 assimilators on the way very soon. So that is definitely going to help him out as well. You can see that the Terran player has not taken his cleared natural yet, but he is going to move out with his force here. Does have a couple ghosts in here, and some of his forces are kind of beat up, so he's going to have to watch out. He's going to have to watch out to make sure he doesn't lose any units accidentally, or, you know, stem too early without healing up his units. You can see he does have a couple medevacs now, so that'll definitely help him, but you got to watch out because you don't want to drain all the energy before, you know, the actual engagement. So taking a look down here, SuperStar is looking to lay another base. He is going to be operating off of 3 bases, actually 4 when this one's built up. So for now he is on 3, and the Terran player is moving out. Couple Vikings, you know, typical Marine Marauder force, kind of Marauder heavy, definitely good versus the units that the Protoss has. A couple Colossus here, so this will definitely be an interesting engagement, as the Protoss kind of has a little bit of a half concave on here. He is warping in more units to complete the concave, several more zealots, which are going to be more than enough meat shields, so to speak, for the Stalkers and the Colossus to do the damage that they need to do to drive this player back. As you can see, there are plenty of Stalkers now to ward off the Vikings. Still don't believe he has any blink tech yet. We'll take a look. No, he sure does not. However, we can see that there is a Dark Shrine on the way for the Protoss player, and for the Terran, he also is getting the Armor 1 upgrade for his infantry forces. You can see the Protoss is pushing this attack back as far as he can, making sure the Terran doesn't have any expansion down here, while he does secure his own expansion down in the southwest. You can see there's a dropship here. I think that was just kind of a rally point. I'm not too sure what the fate of that one's going to be, as I think he is going to die pretty quickly. You do see a shuttle heading down here, and yet there goes that dropship. Dropship versus cannon, that, yeah, okay, we saw how that ended. And you can see the Protoss is kind of scouting out to make sure there's no expansions here. You can see this one zealot just kind of patrolling around, making sure nothing's going on. So we see the warp prism going down here. Very likely we're going to see some units warped in on the ledge here, possibly lifted into the shuttle and then drop down and below. This would be a great place for some Psystorms, and it looks like we're going to have some Dark Templar warping in here, so this will definitely hurt Miso if he is not able to react in time. You can see that the SCVs are already just dropping like flies. However, this missile turret, not quite dead. There it goes. So the Warp Prism is dead, but I mean the damage is already done. Taking a look at the income now, 1,700 versus 380, 360. Definitely going to hurt. So this command center is lifted off at the last second, but it is now burning with just it looks like about 190 hit points. So the rest of these Dark Templars are indeed going to die to the Marine Marauder force, but I would say that it definitely paid for itself, because you can take a look at the economy now. It's devastating for Miso. He practically has no mineral income right now. Looks like he's sitting on 40 per second, while the Protoss player, it's ridiculous. He's sitting on 2,200 per minute. I said a second ago. But anyways, you can see the Protoss player is going to try to come down here and make a push on the Terran forces. However, the Terran is in a really good position as the Protoss forces were kind of funneled in through this this kind of narrow area right here, so the Terran is actually going to be able to push the Protoss back. You can see he is making very little use of his comsat now that he knows the Dark Templar are a very real danger against him in this particular composition. So The thing about the Dark Templar is you really got to watch the ground, because you're not really going to be able to hear them in this big of a battle. Normally you'd be able to hear the swipe of the blades, you know, but in a battle like this, where you can see there's a lot of Marauder fire, a lot of fire in general, you're not going to be able to really hear the swipes of the blades. So anyways, you can see that the Terran player is continuing to scan, and this expansion might actually go down. You can see here that there was definitely a lot of probes here are going to die very quickly as the Terran player does stem again and moves his Marauders up into the main Protoss base. The Protoss does have the High Templar now, and you can see that he does have I think he has the energy, but not the Psystorm yet. Okay, yeah, he has the energy research, but not the Psystorm, so he's not really able to deal with this just yet. So these Templars are going to sit around. Meanwhile, the Dark Shrine is going to go down, and the Protoss player is continuing to lose buildings. However, what the Terran player doesn't know is that there is a giant, well, not a giant, but a pretty good expansion down here that Superstar is going to be able to completely rebuild his base at. And he's also going to have the support income of this high yield for at least another 30 to 45 seconds. And, you know, I really think that the Protoss is in an exceptionally good position right now, and the Terran just doesn't know about it. But, I mean, the Terran may be able to find that, and if he's able to scout it quickly and pull down enough units to plow through the cannons and the Psystorm, he should be able to secure a victory. But we'll have to see, as these probes have been transferred down here from the high yield, which is going to die right now, and the Terran continuing to field the units. Taking a look at his income now, it is definitely at the advantage in terms of income. You can see there are more mules coming down here right this very minute, so his income is definitely going to shoot up through the roof as he continues to press against the Protoss base, trying to kill as much as he can. This main base is just about gone, but the important thing to note, like I said earlier, it looks like the Terran just scouted the base right there. Look at this. I mean, he's already got the Templar archives back up, several gateways here, and cannons, which were something that were absent in the original base. So this will definitely buy the Protoss player the time he needs to really kind of deter an attack. So taking a look at the Terran base, you can see here that because of this Zealot who is actually getting ready to attack this SCV right now, it's going to push off this command center. The only base that the Terran is operating off of is this one right here. So he really has to make sure that he is able to secure some other form of income. As you can see, Superstar again expanding up here to the top right, where the Terran has no idea what is going on up here. So it's as if they're just playing cat and mouse, and Superstar is just expanding everywhere that the Terran player, you know, is trying to be. But you can see that he has loaded up all of his units here in these drop ships, trying to scout out to see where he can find a great place to drop at. You can see right here that there is indeed going to be a push from the rear, so to speak, of Superstar's base. And taking a look here, you can see there are two Zealots getting ready to charge into the SCV line, into his only expansion, only source of income, so that is going to be devastating. Meanwhile, you can see there are some beautiful Psystorms landing down here on the Marauder heavy army. You can see they're just dying left and right. There's just not even any competition. Look at how many units there are just close to death as these Zealots continue to wear away at Miso's SCV line. He is finally realizing that they are indeed in trouble. And, you know, at this point, you know, probably the micro has got to be pretty intense. Take a look at the APM. You can see that Miso's APM is at about 250, 260. Meanwhile, Superstar is sitting at about 130, 140 or so. So you can see that he is trying to kill these Zealots, which have just devastated his income. Once again, taking a look at his income, it is super low right now. So he is going to have to pull off all of these SCVs from this pretty much mined out expansion now, just in order to stay in the game, so to speak. Superstar is in such a good position economy-wise. You can just watch that and see. So, anyways, at this point, both players are just going to sit back for a minute here and kind of ponder what the next move should be. You can see Miso does have a couple Vikings here, which are pretty low hit points. And, you know, the Terran is really going to have to find a solid way to push out, secure some money, and really that should be his focal point at this point, is to try to keep enough pressure on the Protoss player to keep him from further expanding, and, you know, try to secure his own expansions. But to do that, he's really going to have to be a little bit better about his scouting, which so far neither player has really scouted out this yet. But, I mean, this right here, this is really going to come back to haunt Miso in the very, very near future. As you can see, there's another engagement, more Psystorms, beautiful Psystorms. Oh, I love that ability so much. And it looks like we had a little bit of feedback there on the dropship, so to speak, but not too terribly much damage. As you can see, this expansion is more than saturated, so Terran in the game a little bit. I mean, he could still make a play, he could still secure a victory, but it's really going to require some defensive play at this moment. I say that, but I mean, he's also really going to have to kill this expansion, so I mean, really, he's just got to do two things at once, and we'll just see. Well, it's pretty much just up to him how he handles this, so at this point, it looks like he is going to continue to secure money, which is exactly what he needs to do. This command center is just about complete. So taking a look down here, you can see that he is just about mined out there. He will be mined out here in probably a short while, another few minutes or so. Especially if he continues to drop the mules and whatnot. You can see that the Terran forces are trying to move around, scout out the map, see what there is to see, try to catch the Protoss player somewhere off guard. But he is, like I said, he's sitting in a pretty good position. He has a considerable number of warp gates. He's currently sitting at 8 in the moment. And you can see right now that there was a, you know what, I think actually there was a Psystorm drop. Let me scoot back just a little bit to see if I can find that. Yep, there was. A little bit more. And, yep, there it is right there. That's one of the problems with these longer games. You can't always be everywhere at once. You can see some beautiful Psystorms again right there. That was absolutely glorious. Look at that. They're just dying so quickly. And the culprits of this crime are going to get away scot-free. No charges filed. And the Marauders are left to be sad and depressed. So, that, I think, probably sealed the deal for Superstar, but Miso still be able to make a comeback. He does have a considerable number of Marauders that, if microed properly, if he could dodge the Psystorms and put enough pressure on one of Miso or Superstar's bases, he may be able to still hold on to this game. So you can see that there is another drop getting ready to come in here. More Templar are getting ready to storm the rest of the SCVs. You can see he's not even wasting that many storms on the units, just enough to do damage to bring them all down below. But the important part was that he made sure he took out the rest of the SCVs, because what he's doing is he's forcing Miso to dump all of his economy purely on rebuilding his economy and not able to actually reinforce these units. And if he slowly does enough damage to these units, it's really going to hurt him over time. So you can see this one Zealot did come in here trying to do some damage to the SCVs. Not terribly too much. Whoa! I don't know if you all noticed that giant medevac tilt, but that was pretty crazy. Got some crazy pilots up in there. So anyways, I think really at this point it's going to be all or nothing for Miso. His army is about half dead as it gets ready to charge into another Zealot heavy army with a couple of High Templars. You can see that almost all of his forces are sitting at extremely low HP. There goes another command center for Miso as his the remainder of his mineral gathering units are heading back to his base. Really, his dropships are almost out of energy. I'd say they practically are. So I think at this point it's going to be all or nothing for Miso. He's going to have to make one final strong push, as I don't think really at this point being on the defensive is going to be enough. You can see that he is loading in all of his units into his dropships as we speak. And the Protoss player, he is continuing to build Templar, Zealots, and so forth, and continuing to rebuild his base. So definitely a lot of macro here for the player for Superstar. And really all he has to do is just react to this one good push, and it'll be GG for Miso. So we'll have to see what happens. He may be able to pull this off, as he is dropping in the back of his base, like I said, with a lot of Marauders. His medevacs do have a little bit more energy now that they haven't had to heal so much. But there are some absolutely perfect Psystorms right at the landing site of all those units. You can see that just ripped through, and you can see that Miso somehow left the game before seeing GG. So that's a new one in my book, but that's okay. So anyways, that was an absolutely fantastic game. I loved the use of Psystorm in that. That was absolutely beautiful. And I realize that Psystorm is used like all the time, but I mean, come on. When you see just a whole blanket of Psystorms on a bunch of Marines and Marauders, you can't help but smile. Just admit it. Leave a comment below and let me know that you smile. Because if you don't smile, then I'm going to have to do something threatening that'll make you smile. But anyways, yeah, so anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the game, and I will see you later.